Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another brand new live episode of Mornings with the Outlaw here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw, John Rocha, and as you can tell, it's a no-shower Tuesday, so I put the hat on to cover up my hair. I will be taking a shower a little bit later on in the day, but this morning, I didn't have a chance because I was prepping the show, and so much broke this morning. We're going to get into some stuff and talk about it all with my co-host here, the lovely Alex Shashek. How are you, Alex?
I'm pretty dang spiffy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about all this stuff. Are you prepping for a Schmobates tomorrow night or tonight? When is that happening?
I am trying to narrow down my questions for tomorrow. It is corruption themed, and I keep going back and forth on picking some of my questions. Being me, I always prep every Schmobates with like 100 questions. I just put down all the questions on one document, and I'm like, let's narrow it down. And I'm like, this is like really hard this week, but in a good way. So
I've got a question for you. Which corruption loss was the worst? The one against Orlando or Kalinowski getting beat by Smets? I think that's a good debate question you can throw in there.
You know what? I love it. I really do. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I have been encouraged by several people to do more, I don't want to say negative questions, but questions that focus on those kind of negative things. And it's not just for corruption. I've heard that being applied to because we're going to do a Roxy episode next with rock stars. I've heard about that about rock stars, and I remember someone asked me about like greatest loss for you, and I'm like, that's a dick move, like it's just like, dude, why?
Dude.
So also don't be a weenie, but
right, fair. Yeah. But people do like this stuff and they like to talk about it, so I totally respect that. We got 58 of y'all watching us live as we start off the show. I'm sure that number will increase. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you're watching us a little bit late later on, please don't forget to hit that like button. If you're watching us right now, hit that like button as well. We try to get to 150 before the end of every show. We'd love to see you guys do that. So thanks to everyone who's joining us live right now. Don't forget the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open. We do live off the Streamlabs and the Super Chats that you send in to keep us alive, keep us doing things here on the Outlaw Nation Network. Yesterday was a great day for game time, so I'd like to have a fun day today for Mornings with the Outlaw as well. It's the show that does a lot of views, but the money isn't necessarily always there. So help us out, get to a nice place as we move forward here. Giving some love to Isaac Rihanna, Matt Schwanda, Philip Dry, Lachlan Morris, and Enderlix Worthing, who all joined the Outlaw Nation. We're marching ever closer to that 14,000 mark and starting, and then from there moving into the 15,000 mark as well for subscribers. So looking forward to it. And there'll be some new things coming down the pike here for the Outlaw Nation. I think you guys are going to enjoy as well. All right, let's jump into our first story. And don't forget right there, Alex. Don't forget people for me and Alex sending in your Streamlabs there. There's the address. Jake Yakubeta throwing it down. Good to see you, Jake. Thanks for joining us this morning, my man. I know you're busy with a lot of things you got going on, so I appreciate the time. Appreciate all of you. All right, Benioff and Weiss. Alex, I think this is where we need to start. Broke this morning. You sent it to me, and you're like, we got to talk about this, and you're absolutely right. The three-body problem. This is the name that they are of this project that they are taking on. This was announced this morning. It broke this morning. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are taking this on. Peter Friedlander, who is the Netflix VP of the original series stuff they do over there at Netflix, he unveiled the first fruits of the deal that was signed by Benioff and Weiss last August with Netflix at the tune of almost $200 million. But what they're taking on next is something called The Three-Body Problem. It's a live-action series inspired by Chinese author Liu Zixin's, I hope I'm saying that right, acclaimed science fiction. Yeah. Is it Xixin? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
I believe so, yes.
Liu Zixin's acclaimed scientific novel, The Three-Body Problem. Let's see if it's set against China's Cultural Revolution. The sci-fi saga begins when a SETI-like military project actually connects with an alien civilization who they discover is on the brink of destruction. First contact eventually becomes a declaration of invasion on mankind. The news prompts some citizens to prepare for battle and others to concoct ways to aid the aliens in overthrowing the current regimes. The books are filled with characters and subplots, dabble in technology and scientific wonder, and tell an enormous story that should take at least 3 seasons to tell. Alex, This is obviously an incredibly huge project for Benioff and Weiss to take on. And look, they've taken a little bit of hits recently with that season 8 of Game of Thrones not being universally beloved, them getting kind of moved off the Star Wars situation. So taking this project on, it's exciting. I've never heard of this story, so it gets me even more excited. The idea of science fiction from a Chinese point of view is very interesting as well. Plus the way they lay this out, First Contact. But what if First Contact isn't a uniform alien uniform alien race who's focused on one thing? What if there are issues with that alien race politically within themselves that can get exposed by this attack on Earth? So very interesting stuff here as I'm looking at it. What are your thoughts on this?
I love me some sci-fi. I love me some fantasy, but most of all, I am most excited for this couple, this pair of, really great, creators, obviously, most known for being affiliated with Game of Thrones, obviously really bringing that series to life. But I'm most excited for them putting together this potential trilogy, one film trilogy, whatever it may be, miniseries. There hasn't been fully confirmed, right, but it's going to be a huge project. But I'm really excited about this because I was doing research about the books online, and it is like one of the most it was one of the best-selling books over on Amazon, that kind of thing. It's a very best-selling book internationally speaking. And you're right, when it comes to sci-fi in particular, China has a very interesting history for sure, obviously with the Cultural Revolution and everything. So I'm excited to see how this is really going to pan out for this going forward, especially with these two creators.
Yeah, Liu Zixin released a statement and said, "I have the greatest respect for and faith in the creative team adapting the three-body problem for television audiences. I set out to tell a story that transcends time and the confines of nations, cultures, and races, one that compels us to consider the fate of humankind as a whole. It is a great honor as an author to see this unique sci-fi concept travel and gain fandom across the globe, and I am excited for new and existing fans all over the world to discover the story on Netflix." Also, I mean, it also lines Liu Zixin's pockets with money, so he would be nothing but excited for this situation. But also as an artist, getting your story told in the medium of TV or film by these incredible men like Benioff and Weiss, who've shown, as you just mentioned, Alex, a track record for adapting written work into successful TV series like they had with Game of Thrones. So you can't be nothing but excited for this situation. Plus, Rian Johnson and his producing partner Ram Bergman will serve as executive producers on the series. So clearly Benioff and Weiss, Rian Johnson, both kind of connected. Rian Johnson connects Star Wars. Benioff and Weiss kind of connected to Star Wars as they were developing something. Maybe they had worked and talked already, found an easy partnership. So when this project came up, it seemed like the logical thing for them to jump on and create. And it seems like a more philosophical, intellectual approach to sci-fi, and that explores more than just the idea of aliens coming to Earth. That's exciting for me as well.
It's really, really cool. I mean, like I said before, with these creators, I'm really excited for them to really helm this project. Now, I do think that they thrive creating worlds, doing a lot of really awesome world building when they have really great guidance with those around them. Now, we can talk all day and night about, how great or how bad, season 8 was of Game of Thrones, but we can't forget season 1 through 7. And, again, we can argue all day about, it's like season 3, season 5, season 7, whatever. Point is, they have so many great highs, so many great lows, but the world building itself really coming to life in the books is spectacular, obviously. I've yet to meet anyone that looks like Game of Thrones, the show, and be like, lame. Like, no, like, who are you? So I have a lot of confidence of them bringing this world to life in particular, not to mention they have, like you said, with the producers involved, really excited for. Obviously, Rian Johnson coming so hot off of his, award-winning a mystery thriller, with Knives Out. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And, so he has a lot of confidence, obviously a lot of leverage going into this, but also someone else who that attached is Alexander Wu. Now, if you're not familiar with who that is, awesome, even better. But Alexander Wu, he's definitely known for behind the scenes doing a lot of producerial work and doing a lot of writing as well. If you're familiar with True Blood, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, Sleeper Cell, but also The Terror Infamy. So The Terror Infamy has really been very much a sleeper hit on AMC. It's there's a lot of supernatural horror elements, with both English and Japanese, horror anthology episodes. So it's really cool. So if any of that horror, sci-fi, fantasy elements is somehow translated into this, that makes me a million times more excited.
Yeah, I agree. And Wu released a statement. He said the Three Body Problem trilogy combines so many things I love: rich, multi-layered characters and true existential stakes, all told as an elegant and deeply human allegory. Benioff and Weiss released a statement themselves. They said Liu Zhizhen's trilogy is the most ambitious science fiction series we've read, taking readers on a journey from the 1960s until the end of time, from life on our pale blue dot to the distant fringes of the universe. We look forward to spending the next years of our lives bringing this to life for our audiences around the world. So I'm thoroughly excited for this kind of thing. Friedlander also wrote in a blog post, since my earliest days at Netflix working on series like Black Mirror and Sense8, I've sought out stories and POVs that are singular. This story felt singular, special, and eminently relatable. So I have nothing but excitement at this point for this this combo of people coming together to create to adapt this trilogy to a TV format on Netflix. Certainly it's going to be cinematic as hell, and certainly Benioff and Weiss have no problem spending increasing the budget of a show to make it look as good as it can. HBO was limited with the amount of money they were allowed to use per episode, and they got some really great effects out of those episodes. So with something like Netflix, who has no problem spending the money, I'm looking forward to seeing what new and incredible visual images and cinematography and designs and what have you that they create in this sci-fi world. So, and it'll be a while before we see anything, but it's casting and all of that, and adapting it to a screenplay that works and what have you, or episodes that work and what have you. That's going to take some time, but like I said, it could be a 3-season situation. It could be another situation where they take this thing 5 seasons and veer off the books. We'll see if they take that chance again. But for now, this is exciting on so many levels. And it kind of now washes the stink away a little bit off Benioff and Weiss of what happened with season 8 rather, and with the Star Wars situation. So I think this is a positive for them as well.
One of my final thoughts about this is that I will say, yes, I know Thrawn's kind of mentioning, I have, like, my nose is a little runny, so I have allergies, forgive me. So I do think a lot of creatives, not just these two, but I do think they created their best work under the guidance of a very solid outline when it comes to the story. Yeah. Obviously, George R. R. Martin, he was very involved as a screenwriter, as well as a producer with Game of Thrones, and also Star Wars. You don't need to go into that, obviously. But obviously with this, they've talked about how they're going to be working with a lot of well-known people to put this together. But I do think under the guidance of a lot of with like you said, with Rian Johnson, Alexander Wu, and Liu Zhizhen, we are going to get hopefully a very tight story, and that's going to be really solidly reflective of the books that are so beloved around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jake Yagavetta giving us some love here. How do y'all feel about this project? Yeah, send it in through Streamlabs. Let us know what you think. Are you excited about Benioff and Weiss? Are you excited to see what's going to happen from them? And have you read these books? Has anyone read these books? Now I may have to do a little deep dive into this before these things come out, and read these books and see if how good they actually are. Partis Jasudison asks, will this be HBO or HBO Max? It's actually going to be on Netflix. So this is going to be on Netflix as part of the overall deal that Benioff and Weiss signed with Netflix last August for what is rumored to be $200 million. So, 7 seasons of Game of Thrones buys you $200 million. I think that's pretty awesome stuff. So we'll look forward to seeing what else is coming out from this. We'll look forward to the casting, look forward to all this stuff coming down the road, who the directors on these episodes are going to be. Certainly they were able to bring on a number of great directors to work with them on Game of Thrones. So I'm sure some of those directors are excited about the possibility of being considered for some of these episodes for this series as well. We'll keep tabs on it. All right, let's move on. We've got one Streamlab that came, or 2 of them that came through. Thank you so much. Ben Rayner said, hey guys, hope you had a good weekend. This project seems good for the Game of Thrones guys. They're great at adapting stuff. This should be a great fit, and I'm excited for it. Sounds like it could be incredible. Sign me up. Yeah, another one that Ben Rayner kind of expressing his excitement, and we go along with his excitement, I think, Alex, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with Ben, for sure. I feel like this is definitely a perfect project for them because they have... I think they have a little more creative leverage going into this project. In theory, it's not as well known as, say, the Wizarding World, that's already been adapted and everything
or
so
Star
many
Wars.
times.
Right.
Or Star Wars. And so I not many people as of now that I know of are going to be like, oh my gosh, you didn't do this person correctly. This person looks like this. This world looks like this. Oh my gosh. So if they have a little more creativity themselves, I feel like they're going to be a little more focused.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Alex. You can say, well, they didn't work out with Star Wars or whatever. It may be that they wanted to approach Star Wars in this kind of philosophical, existential way. And Kathleen Kennedy, everybody there, Lucasfilm was like, nah, we're good. We don't like to kind of really do that. So now this idea, their natural inclination to approach sci-fi in this manner will bear better fruit maybe for them by being on this project. So it works out overall. They get to really kind of flex their creative muscles and have the leeway to do so with something like this. So yeah, makes sense. Oh, Jake, thank you, Jake. He said, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially with solid previous work. I'm not going to hold a couple of missteps against them before we see what they do with this. Thank you for the donation, Jake. It's a very kind donation. But yes, agreed. Yeah, sometimes we can get caught up with what you've done. What have you done for me lately? And forget that like all these other seasons, as you said, Alex, 1 through 7, that really turned Game of Thrones into this pop culture touchstone. Phenomenon. It gets kind of lost in the mix. They clearly have shown that they're pretty great at adapting material once they stay on track with the material, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, they're really great with building worlds themselves. Yeah. So, and that's, I feel like that's very difficult to do.
Yes, it is.
There's a reason why we don't see that happen very often, because not only it's expensive, but it's risky and it's hard and you can't make everyone happy. And somehow these guys did make people happy with the Game of Thrones, where people get picky about Game of Thrones. Let's be honest.
True, and this is what happens as a creative. You look at you look at Ridley Scott, right? Ridley Scott. If you look at his resume, there are quite a few clunkers in between the hits. He was kind of rolling down the hill before The Martian came in 2015, but those films beforehand, like Gods of Egypt or whatever it was, like those weird ass films, they did not get a good review. They did not get good box office. They weren't seen as positive films or good films. And then The Martian comes along, people go, "Oh yeah, I remember." Remember how good.
Like I feel okay, but
yeah.
But on it's like I feel like we had that conversation of like we had that little mini debate about Ridley Scott before, because I really like Ridley Scott, so I feel like you're kind of.
I like Ridley Scott too, but I also know.
So obviously, the guy's super duper hit and miss. But I mean, do we need to talk about how amazing Alien is, or Blade Runner, or American Gangster? American Gangster.
Gangster's good. Yes, absolutely.
Dude,
so I like G.I. Jane. I like G.I. Jane. I like Gladiator. Black Hawk Down. At some point, I'm going to watch that director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven. We'll see. But look, I mean, he went from Robin Hood was terrible. Prometheus was really not well received.
Oh, that was rough.
Counselor was horrible. Exodus, Gods and Kings. So from Body of Lies, which you could argue is a middling to good film, from American Gangster 2007 to 2015. That's his run. Body of Lies, Robin Hood, Prometheus, The Counselor, Gods and Kings, and then he gets The Martian. So those are not great movies.
Blame Russell Crowe, okay? Russell Crowe. Blame Russell Crowe, because Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe, they have this like cool bromance, which I'm so for. But they did like 4 movies back to back. They did Gladiator, awesome. They did The Good Year. I think The Good Year. They did American Gangster. They did Body of Lies, and they did like one other one. Yeah. Oh, they did Robin Hood. So
I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. Putting it out there for y'all to consume. So yeah, so good point, Jake. You make absolutely. Matchstick Men, absolutely good film. Matchstick Men, good film. And that's what I mean.
Okay, my favorite Ridley Scott movie.
Films, then do one.
My favorite Ridley Scott movie. Yeah.
Oh, Matchstick Men. He directed really? Yes. Over Blade Runner, Alex Shashek. Over Alien.
Alien, okay, I have a very much an emotional connection to Alien, just because I too feel like I'm constantly in a haunted house set in space, okay? But and obviously Blade Runner, I like Blade Runner. I never connected to Blade Runner like others do. Okay. I love Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, it's loosely based off of. The world is, based off of, obviously. But it's just not I really, really enjoy it, but I don't have a driving need to go back and watch it. Versus Matchstick Men, I feel like I watch that movie every year just out of pure love. And also, like Sam Rockwell. I mean, come on.
Jeez, poor Russell Crowe. All right, well, I didn't see Unhinged, and I just didn't really feel like watching it. It got decent reviews from some of my friends. Either. Yeah, it feels like, box office wise. Speaking of which, box office wise, let's jump into our next story here, Alex. Please keep sending your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. Want to get to a nice number when we wrap up the show today. And please don't forget to hit that like button. Got 164 of y'all watching us live, so give us some likes there. Get us over 150 likes before we end the show. Would really appreciate that. All right, well, we got news, box office news, as I just said here a second ago. It's Tenet. Tenet was released internationally in a number of markets, and it's going to be released here domestically in a number of cities. Certainly Vegas, there was a screening for it last week. Some people like RB3 drove up there for the screening. There was apparently a screening last night in Vegas as well. Some of us are not being told about these screenings, and maybe for good reason. So this weekend, Tenet made $53 million as it debuted in 41 markets, including Canada, internationally, that is. The UK led with 7.1 million. And then France had 5.7 million, Germany with 4.2 million. And Warner Brothers didn't provide other territory grosses, but said that 32 markets in Europe, Middle East, and African region accounted for 37 million of the weekend's grosses, despite reduced capacity. This is a $200 million movie, so it certainly has to make a lot of its money back by playing in a number of theaters here. It began playing in previews on August 31st yesterday, and then it's going to open on September 3rd this weekend in certain cities, not in Los Angeles, not in New York. I don't know if it'll be in the drive-in. I've heard some issues about LA drive-ins with Tenet, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nolan was like, no drive-ins, because it's not going to be the actual theatrical experience that I intended. But exciting overall for them to be making their money, and certainly shows that studios that if you've got a product that people want to see internationally, people are going to come out and see it. And then we'll see how the box office shapes up as they drop it in these other cities that aren't in the large markets, because obviously with COVID and everything like that, they're not able to keep those theaters open in the high contact areas like New York and Los Angeles and other places. Toby Emmerich said, "We are off to a fantastic start internationally and couldn't be more pleased. Christopher Nolan has once again delivered an event-worthy motion picture that demands to be seen on the big screen, and we are thrilled that audiences across the globe are getting the opportunity to see Tenet." Tenet also did big business on IMAX theaters, Alex, 5 million from 248 screens in 38 markets, which is comparable to what Nolan did with Dunkirk and Interstellar. So you hear all this stuff, Alex. Does this bode well for the movie, bode well for movies coming back if they go the international to domestic route? What's your thoughts on this?
I do think it's if they're that desperate to go to theaters, it is smart. It is definitely an approach to, guaranteed make some money, rather than, be like, hey, you know what, we spent so much money, we don't want to, and Nolan's that desperate to get it out now. Yeah. Going that route absolutely makes sense. And it makes sense for a lot of creators that are looking to get their content out there into theater rather than go VOD as well. So I think they would make more money on VOD, but that's very much a different conversation for another day. Yeah. This movie in particular, it cost over $200 to make, and that's not including marketing. And obviously with everything going on right now, that also changed its marketing potential tremendously. Did it get more marketing? Did it get less marketing technically? Because I'm not entirely sure, obviously, but there's a lot of questions being asked. But in order to really not only make its budget, but also then some, in order to actually turn a profit, it really has to make some miracles happen here in the next few weeks for sure.
Right. Yeah, and we'll see how that plays out. I mean, I think this does tell you that internationally, because they've taken care of this COVID situation better than we have here in the States, they're able to open their theaters in larger numbers. China even has bounced back with their box office. China is one of the first people that shut all their theaters down, tried to reopen and then shut them down again when people were getting COVID again. They've done really, really, really well. In less than 2 weeks, the Chinese tentpole, The 800 film, has collected well north of $200 million. It is the first Asian movie filmed entirely with IMAX camera. So that's something that bodes well for the box office there in China, for anything you're going to release in China that the fans are interested in watching. So we shall see how that plays out for Tenet when it gets around to there. But I also think this is an interesting situation, and I will say this. Some mini reviews from some of my friends across the country who got a chance to see some of these previews and were DMing me or texting me their thoughts. Overall, the vibe I'm getting is that it is an incredibly intellectually dense film. So many of my friends have texted me and said, I have to sit down with this thing and watch it again on DVD or Blu-ray or VOD and kind of put on the subtitles because the sound mix is so loud so I can hear everything that's happening. So that's part of it. The other part of it, and this is a friend of mine who went to see it in, I think, Nebraska, the social distancing in some of these theaters is not happening as effectively as it should. So that concerns me as well. He went to the theater and they only had one seat of space on both sides. If I was going, I would need 3 seats on both sides in order to be able to feel comfortable about watching a movie in a crowded theater for COVID times. So what do you think about this, Alex? This idea of going to a theater in a small town and there's only one seat of separation between you and the next person, would you be okay with being in a theater watching a film like this in that situation? Or would you be distracted by the fear that you might be contracting it from someone who's sitting in that theater closer to you than you would like?
It depends on the theater. Also, okay. It's also, it depends on people around me. Are the people around me wearing masks? Is it one of those situations where theaters are requiring anyone to come in to watch a movie are required to wear a mask? Or is it we suggest it, but you don't have to, legally speaking? Right. Because, I know several people mentioned in the chat, it varies state to state and community to community. Being here in St. Louis, I would have no trouble doing that. I would feel totally comfortable. Yeah, totally comfortable. And I would have no issue. Because again, every single person I see on the street, every single person, man, woman, and child, is wearing a mask, not just a flimsy mask, but an actual mask. And so I trust them. And I've, from what I've been told personally from medical professionals, my mom's a surgeon and she works, very closely with a lot of doctors and everything that are in the front lines of this. She told me there's no reason why you can't, as long as you're careful the entire time. Right. So it's, but also it comes down to comfortability factor. I mean, honestly, are you going to be distracted the entire time watching a movie about whether or not the person next to you washed their hands or, things like that? And so it's going to be different for everyone, for sure.
I think my optimal seat is all the way in the back in the corner with 3 people in the back row with three seat difference. So then I can relax, watch the movie, don't have to worry about people behind me or in front of me. And I can just kind of enjoy the movie from there. You know, there are theaters here in LA where you could do that. It's just a matter of them financially. It doesn't make sense to open it because they're not going to make enough money to cover the expense of being open. And from what I'm understanding, at some of these theaters, there is no refreshments available for some people as well, or for some of these theaters as well. They don't make that a possibility for fear of what that might do. Because if you have refreshments, then you're logically pulling down your mask to eat or to drink, and God knows what happens at that point. If you're reacting to something, coughing, sneezing, what have you, it can go into this. So really weird, really interesting situation, rather, as we see this happening more and more across the country. And we'll see what the box office is in these, because, I mean, if they come out in these small cities or smaller cities, I don't want to say small cities, smaller cities than Los Angeles or New York City. Louis. Like St. Louis, right. And they make a good amount of money, and the number of screenings, all of that. Then it starts to show you a blueprint for what other studios might be looking at to do with their films. Remember, Dune is still coming out, which we'll get to in just a second. Dune is still coming out on December 18th. Coming to America is supposed to still come out. Coming to America is supposed to still come out as a sequel on December 18th. Everything else has pretty much been pushed out of the shoot here for the next few months. So will we be in a situation now where maybe some studios rethink this after the Tenet situation and bring their films back? You know, Mulan is already slated to come out this weekend on Disney Plus, or I'm sorry, on VOD. So that's going to be available for people to get. But other movies that they've kind of maybe put on the shelf for now, would studios take another look at this and drop these films in theaters to see if they could recoup any of the money? I wonder.
It's going to be very difficult too, for sure. And a lot of movies, I'm sure going forward, they're going to keep that in mind, just how risky it is to not only put out a movie in theaters, but also, or make the decision, if they want to sell it to Netflix, Hulu, wherever it may be, or do a video on demand situation. A lot of these studios and companies are really going to think to themselves, what is the best budget when putting together these movies in order to make sure it's most profitable, for sure. Let's be honest, if Nolan and the studio and Warner Brothers knew that this $225 million movie, as far as I know, the most expensive Nolan movie to date, was going to be under these circumstances, they would be like, hell nah.
Right.
They would be like, let's get experimental AF, on a good $100 million project. Okay. Go crazy. But 225. So I'm really curious to see what the next big epic, the next big sci-fi fantasy or comic book movie or whatever it may be. I'm really curious to see how that's going to be going forward, especially budget wise. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, and we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fun to get these numbers in and have a better idea and have some more to talk about when it comes to the box office stuff. So we shall see. Let's see. Jaimon John says, Master and Commander is a hidden treasure. Making a movie on water with historically accurate ships from 1800 is not an easy thing to do. Hollywood never makes such epic, ambiguous, I think he's trying to say ambitious films anymore. And what is that? I don't know what that is. Is that lira? What is it?
I honestly don't know. I am not. For some reason, my head's going towards crowns.
Oh, crowns. All right.
I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Crowns, I think, is Czech Republic. I'm totally wrong. I don't know. I don't know anything when it comes to
let
money.
us know what that is. It's pretty awesome. I've never seen that symbol for money before. So please let us know what country that's from. But thank you very much for your comment here. Yeah, it is a great movie, Master and Commander. It's certainly a film that the Top 10 show thoroughly loves, and we talk about all the time. If it had made a lot of money, I think we were looking at a series of these films, almost a franchise of these films with Russell Crowe, who is great in the movie, and with Paul Bettany, who's fantastic as well. We would have seen more of these movies. But yeah, they don't do them because the audiences don't come out to support them. That's the way this works. It's supply and demand. If we provide something and you don't come out to see it, we're not going to provide you with that anymore most of the time. So that's why it happens. It's not just the studios going, nope, we don't want to make those movies anymore. It's more a matter of like, well, the audiences didn't come out, so why should we make these movies? So that's the thing there at the end of the day, Hyman.
Yeah, Alex? Absolutely. I do wish, I definitely think it's very much a lost genre, historical epics, historical dramas, like Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus, or oh my gosh, is Paths to Glory technically an epic? But yeah,
I think so.
Technically, is it not? Anyway, but is it? But yes, I mean, it's kind of it's kind of an ambiguous, definition of what is or isn't an epic. I recently learned some of my favorite movies, which I thought were epics, are not technically epics, which I was like heartbroken about. And I was like, excuse you. But I do. Thing is, one of the big factors to creating an epic is that it actually mentions in its definition, it has to be crazy costly in order to make an epic. Cleopatra, for example, it costs a stupid amount of money. Yeah. Like, oh dear God, it costs a stupid amount of money. So in order to make it, as a result though, epics are very difficult, very expensive to make, very risky, but they used to be a huge game. It used to be a huge, genre in Hollywood, obviously not as much anymore, but maybe one day we'll get it back.
Maybe one day.
Do you have a favorite epic though?
My favorite epic, Lawrence of Arabia, probably. Or Ben-Hur. Those are two of my favorite epics for sure.
I've never seen Ben-Hur, but I do love me some Lawrence of Arabia.
All right. That could be a fun one, Ben-Hur, if you ever want to have me back on Cinema Bias. Quick question. Quick answer to the question. Those are Indian rupees. That's what that is. That's the symbol for rupee. So thank you very much for watching from India. I really appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. So as Jake said, please don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. We're at what are we at? Well, let me take a look at here. We're at 108 likes with 179 of y'all watching. Thank you so much. And please hit that like button. Get us over 150. If you're watching us later, and a lot of you do, please hit that thumbs up button. Swing that mouse over there. Hit that thumbs up button. Give us some love. Yeah, there he is. Answer is Bridgendez says rupees. Thank you, Bridgendez. We figured that out. Very kind of you. Paths of Glory is a courtroom drama, says Christian Campos. Okay. All right. That's fair.
A courtroom drama can still be epic, right?
Sure,
right?
sure. I mean, Spartacus is really
and scope.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has to be grand in scale. It has to be like world altering. It has to be like huge. Yeah.
I agree. Let's see. It's a couple of Streamlabs have come through here. Draws Walker donated, said, I've always enjoyed mornings with the Outlaw, chatting with the nation over some good topics. Oh, thank you, Draws. It's very kind of you. Andrew G says, I spent most of my weekend going to the theater for New Mutants and Tenet. Entire rows empty, unavailable to purchase seats in. That's good. And Energy's in Canada. Pairs of available seats were spaced out with 4 or 5 empty seats between. My experience went pretty well with that. Well, I would love that. That's a great situation.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I would do that in a heartbeat. If I could afford to fly to Canada to spend a couple of days watching movies in theaters like that, I would absolutely do it if I could afford it. Yeah.
Question. If that's the case, if let's say hypothetically Hollywood takes that lead and where it's like 4 seats in between kind of thing. Yeah, do you think theaters would increase the price of tickets temporarily?
Ooh, good question.
Like hypothetically, I mean, they're already expensive at like sometimes between $10 to $15 per ticket, depending on where you go. And that's not
cute. You think that's
parking and food, if you want to get food and all that good stuff. I mean, but who doesn't get a soda or candy or something like that? I mean, everyone gets something, I feel like, but what if hypothetically a ticket was $30?
Well, I'll tell you this. In LA, an IMAX ticket is $28. So, and there are theaters in LA and Pasadena, before they close them down, these iPic theaters, $28 just to see a film regularly. And it was because you got leather seats and you got a tray to bring your food and sit in and watch the movie. Kind of like the Alamo Drafthouse experience, if you've ever had that. But in LA, the matinee is $15. The standard price for a ticket is about $19, $20 for a movie, which is why being a part of this sphere has saved me a lot of money getting the screenings without having to pay for these tickets. And it's also why that AMC Plus situation or AMC situation with the paying one monthly fee to get to see all these movies was really cost effective for a lot of people in Los Angeles because it saved you money. So I think increasing the price and looking around and seeing that the theater does take extreme precaution with COVID, I think people would be more than willing to pay the extra money to go and see a film like Tenet versus a film like New Mutants. I know people are going to see it in the drive-thru here in LA. Yeah. By the way, the drive-thru price is $35 in LA, and it's for two people in a car.
For two people.
For one car, $35, and you're not going to really be able to see it if you're in the back seat, because you can't roll the window down, stick your head out. So it behooves you to go with just two people in the car, but it's $35 to see a movie in a drive-in there in here in LA rather. So, and there are rumors that they're going to show Tenet at the Rose Bowl drive-in. I don't know if that's going to happen, but so some people might see it in that way. I know a lot of my friends went and saw it over the weekend, New Mutants at a drive-in. So those are those things. So I think people are willing to spend the money. It's just you've got to show that you are making sure everything is completely clean. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think people would absolutely spend the money, especially here in LA and certainly in New York City. I imagine they would as well.
Times may be a changing. You never know. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's true. Ben Rayner donated again. He said, to be honest, Nolan kind of turned me off this movie by pushing it out right now. I'm not rushing to a theater to see it right away. I could wait for either a vaccine or I could even wait for VOD personally, but I think I am in the minority. Yeah, you just might be, Ben. And I think for a number of reasons. One, I think people are desperate to go see something in a movie theater. I mean, some people drove to Vegas to go see these films. I know The Barbarian flew into Vegas this past weekend to see a bunch of movies. So, there are people who are just desperate to be out of the house, desperate to go see something in a theater. So, yeah, you might be in the minority on this, Ben. What do you think, Alex?
It's.
You think Ben's in the minority, or do you think there are more people than he thinks?
No, I do think I don't think that many people. The thing is, we're in a very specific community, obviously. Yeah. Now, the people that we know, people within our community, obviously, are major movie buffs. They love watching movies, especially by creators like Christopher Nolan, obviously, or David Fincher, and a lot of these really cool people. And as a result, getting excited for movies is kind of taken to another level. However, the average Joe Schmo probably is just like, whatever. I like, maybe they like those movies, but at the same time, are they gonna not only invest the money but also dedicate the time and the energy in order to potentially drive or fly somewhere for a movie that's like 2-3 hours long? Probably not. So it's very different. But like I said, we're in a very specific community. Not only you being in LA, being a movie critic, and we're like we have a lot of friends and, everything that's also part of the community. So we have a very specific point of view.
Right. It's a good point. Fredtastic says the fear is we are living in the beach scene of Jaws. People don't go back in the theater because they don't want to get eaten by the big bad shark. That's true. That's fair. And certainly the high contact areas like Los Angeles and New York City and Chicago, I imagine people aren't rushing out to be in an enclosed space, because basically you're trading in your apartment or your house or your place for another enclosed space, which is the theater, just to watch a movie. So it's not as unique of a situation, but people have this emotional connection to being in an actual theater that transports them and doesn't make it feel like you're just going from one enclosed space to another enclosed space for them mentally. So, and I get it. I'm in no rush, but then again, the other day when I saw people running out to see New Mutants in a theater up in Vegas, I was just like, yeah, I would do that. I might want to do that. I might want to get that communal experience, of that situation.
Yeah.
let's see here. Someone says, yeah, $35. Johel Paz says $35 for a drive-in sounds like 2 tickets for a normal theater experience. Yeah, but it's not a normal theater experience, is it? You're sitting in your car, you've got the Bluetooth on, so it's not the same thing, and you don't get refreshments at these drive-ins, from what I understand. So,
but you can bring your own stuff.
Oh, you could. You're right. You go old school, like your mom used to, and bring like a tin foil full of hot dogs.
You bet.
And have a good time.
That sounds like a blast. Man, time. That just sounds like a good time. Don't threaten me with the good time, man. I wish we had more drivers here in St. Louis. We don't, yeah.
All right, that's all the Streamlabs Super Chats for now. Keep them coming, people, please. We got another 30 minutes left in the show. Would love to get some more of these rolling through to help us have a positive Tuesday as we come back with Mornings with the Outlaw. Let's move on to our next story, Alex, as we're keeping tabs on things. This one has to do with Dune. Empire magazine released some new pictures about the concerning Denis Villeneuve's Dune. That's coming out on December 18th. Right now, it's coming out on December 18th. They released an awesome cover and covers, and then some pictures. Let's take a look at them now. There's the cover there from Empire. Pretty awesome stuff. You got the 2 factions that are going to be going at each other there. You know, Momoa on one side, then you got Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, and Josh Brolin on the other side. So pretty cool stuff here. We'll see what we're going to see. I love the outfits, all the costumes, all the vibe of these covers. So cool. And Empire is a great magazine. If you don't get Empire, it's a fantastic film magazine from the UK. Yes, it's expensive to order it as a or subscribe to it, but I mean the articles are incredible, and the stuff they cover is pretty fantastic. There's some more pictures here. We got Chalamet and birthday girl Zendaya. Is that right, Zendaya or Zendaya? Am I saying that right, Zendaya?
Yes, Zendaya.
Zendaya. It's her birthday today. Shout out to her. Of course, I love her from The Greatest Showman and a couple other projects, Spider-Man, what have you. But she is a part of this thing with Chalamet. Look at him, Chalamet. Look at pretty little man. Pretty little man, that's Chalamet. I know people love him.
Yes.
So ladies are thirsty for Chalamet. It's true. And then, now talk about thirsty. Look at that beard, for the love of God. Oscar Isaac. Oh, so awesome. Josh Brolin there as well, giving him the are you kidding me look. Love that. But Oscar Isaac looking powerful in that armor. Look at the design of that armor. It's pretty awesome. Certainly no sand is getting into that. And then one other shot here of Jason Momoa fighting off some people there with his fighting skills. So excited to see some more of this stuff. So this is stuff coming out. We've had pictures before. This is some new pictures now dropping from Dune. Does this get you even more excited, getting more hyped up for this possibility? I mean, it doesn't look like, from all indications, that they're gonna push this thing. It looks like they're gonna try to release in December, which is why they're kind of keeping the PR machine rolling. So do these new pictures get you even more excited to see what you're going to see here in December, Alex?
You know how long I've been drinking this water?
How long have you been drinking the water?
I'm so thirsty for this movie. Okay. Oh. I am so thirsty for this movie. You know, if you think I get excited about world building when it comes to sci-fi fantasy worlds, oh my gosh, this world makes me so excited. Denis Villeneuve, I have so much confidence in him as a director.
Yeah.
I prefer Blade Runner 2049 over Blade Runner personally. And I know I get a lot of flack for that, but that's just me. But this world looks so cool. Thing is, now, if you had a chance to see everything looks beautiful. Zendaya looks beautiful. Timothy, obviously, that child is so beautiful. Good Lord. It's distracting. But you guys, thing is, okay, like we were just talking about Tenet. If you haven't seen that movie in theaters yet, obviously, who has really? Like 10 people. Okay, whatever. Well, but the thing is, okay, fine, 100 people, fine.
Well, it made 54 million, so I would say that quite a number of
10 people, whatever.
Right,
whatever. In the US. Okay, thing is, if you had the opportunity to see that movie, fantastic. Thing is, they released a teaser that came out right before this, before the movie. And so now, unfortunately, it has not been released on YouTube yet, but there's several iconic scenes from the book that are actually in the teaser. Sorry, there was a lot of carbonation.
There was a lot of carbonation.
There was a lot of water I just drank. You know, I'm just so thirsty. I'm so thirsty, for this movie. But this one in particular, so I do think like the trailer is going to come up on YouTube right around the corner, several iconic scenes, and everything that I heard, I saw like 10, 20 reviews like back to back last night. And I was like, what is the hype around this? Like, aside from me, and they all said looks amazing. It's actually straight out of the book. It looks good. It feels right. Timothy, everything is fantastic. The costumes are great. So this just makes me so excited to see this trailer.
Yeah. And Andrew G, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you see the trailer when you went to see Tenet this weekend? Let me know if you saw. I thought you tweeted or put something out there where you said you did go see Tenet and then saw the trailer. So did you see the trailer? Let me know in the chat, my man. But I think it's fantastic that it's happening. So I love the look of this whole thing. I'm excited for it to happen. I think we're getting a better movie than we got in the 80s from the David Lynch film. This is
Sting?
What? this is Sting? And there's going to be a second part of this that they're doing as well that I think they've shot at the same time. So yeah, JT tweeted that he saw the Dune trailer. Yeah, but knowing JT and the way he spells thing, he probably saw the Doom trailer and thought it was the Dune trailer. So I wouldn't put a lot of faith in what JT has said. But I mean, JT could living where he lives. He could have seen it there in Wisconsin. Certainly the Midwest is where it's at nowadays in terms of going to see movies. St. Louis being there. All right, let's hit some Streamlabs here on this. We got 3 that rolled through. John Doe Donut says, I have a 60-inch television. I have surround sound, and Netflix has a new movie and show every weekend, so I'm good to wait. Yeah, a lot of people,
nice.
Some people are.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Jealous, too.
I got a 55-incher in here and a 60-incher out there. This is for watching movies when my lady wants to watch her British stuff. I come in here and enjoy my time, and it's built that way so that I can enjoy my movies how I want to enjoy them.
I watched 2 movies, horror movies back to back last night at like 2 a.m, and that was a really big mistake. I watched them by myself in the dark because I love my life and I love sleep. Obviously, I watched Sinister and Sinister 2.
Oh Lord, God bless. Why at night? Wow.
Because I love sleep.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh my gosh, I was so stressed last night.
I bet you were. I'm surprised you made the show. Thank you for making the show, Alex. John Doe donated some more. He said, hey guys, if you don't answer this question, I understand, but with the unfortunate death of Chadwick Boseman, what do you think Black Panther 2 storyline going forward should be? And do you think the movie will be moved back to possibly rewrite the film? Yeah, Alex, we haven't touched on that in the show. I think because, it's been since Friday. It's not new news. And we touched on it yesterday with Game Time, Jay, and Winston and I had a really in-depth conversation about the loss of Chadwick Boseman. But, it's been a few days, so I didn't think it would be something we should cover. But if you'd like to, but we can talk about this. I don't know. What do you feel? Do you want to have an opinion on what they should do for Black Panther 2, or do you want to just kind of leave it alone? What's your feeling on it? And thank you, John, for the donation.
I feel like it's a bit soon, honestly, to talk about it personally. There's a lot of potential storylines I would love to see, go forward because, I do think Chadwick Boseman has mentioned in numerous interviews, although unfortunately he cannot obviously make sequels or anything, or we cannot continue with his character. However, he was very adamant that Ryan Coogler really not only make the sequel, but also keep this story going, considering not only how popular it is just for the MCU, obviously, but I mean, just specifically for people of color in particular and what it means. I mean, the outpour of love, for not only this man, but everything he represents has been so wonderful. And, and so I would hate for this world that he's been so, tied to in recent years to never be expanded on or, fade away because of that, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think they should absolutely take their time and figure out what they're going to do. Any announcements now would be I just think would be bad PR. And I think they just got to figure out what they're going to do next. And look, I mean, Marvel has had a hell of a run for the last 12 years, getting to this position. We're entering into a new phase, and COVID hit. And now the death of Chadwick Boseman, the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. So, it kind of, and then DC having that massive DC fandom weekend. Marvel's got some hurdles to overcome, some obstacles to overcome. So taking a step back to look at this over again and figure out what you want to do next, I think it's not a bad thing. And so with the situation with Black Panther 2, obviously the logical thing in your mind is immediately, okay, Letitia Wright should take over as Black Panther. Shuri does that in the comic books many times, so it's not an issue to have that happen. I think recasting a male lead to play Black Panther would be a colossal mistake. I think it can only be Letitia Wright or nothing. And so that's my feeling at it at this point. Now, down the road, after we've had some distance from this passing, maybe our minds open up a little bit more, our hearts open up a little bit more, and there's another actor who steps in to take the mantle of Black Panther. Maybe they resuscitate Michael B. Jordan from Killmonger to become Black Panther in a positive way. That's something they could kick around down the road. Certainly, they had that ability to bring people back from the dead in the film, or close to death in the film. So maybe there's even more ancient technology, ancient spells, technology, what have you, that could bring Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger back after having had the conversation with T'Challa at the end of the movie. So Michael B. Jordan comes and is now a good Black Panther instead of the evil Killmonger trying to become Black Panther. So that's something there that could possibly be explored, but I think we're going to need some time on that one to even remotely consider it, to be honest with you. So
absolutely.
Andrew G donated. He did answer the question. Andrew G, thank you. He said, I didn't see the Dune teaser when I saw Tenet, maybe because I didn't go to IMAX. But the images look incredible. The cast is amazing. I can't wait for this. So, yeah, maybe it was only at the IMAX theaters were you able to see the Dune teaser, the 90-second teaser that was out. So, I don't know if there's no IMAX theaters anywhere close to us, or else I'd totally be going over there to see that, just to see the teaser. I'd probably see that. I'd be more excited to see the 90-second teaser than I would necessarily be to see Tenet. So that lets you know where my mindset is about both of these movies for sure. All right.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. M'Baku, Ben, I appreciate that, but I don't think M'Baku could take over the Black Panther situation. Nothing against Winston Duke. I just think you need a different look for that, the Philosopher King says, I saw the Dune teaser at a Dolby showing. Okay, how about a quick review, Philosopher? Put in the chat your quick review. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it or not? The Dune trailer drops September 9th, according to the IMAX teaser. Okay, so we have to wait till 9 days. 9 days to see this. All right, Alex, let's take a break real quick and plug some stuff. We got 15 minutes left in the show. We might have to run through 2 topics before we get out of here. So please, what do you got going on?
Tomorrow I'm going to be hosting a corruption-themed schmobate, and you're probably asking yourself, what is this amazing show that Alex keeps talking about? Well, let me tell you. Schmobates is my Schmodown-themed debate show I host every single Wednesday, and we really, I ask really big questions surrounding Schmodown, including what is the best title match of all time, what is the who's the first competitor to win all 3 or potentially 4 leagues, in Schmodown, things like that. But also, what Schmodown personality is most likely to throw the best 4th of July barbecue? So, all the most important questions. And somehow Kaiser lost that debate.
How did that happen?
It was a fun time. He was distraught. I got a DM right after, and he's like, "Did I really lose?" And I was like, "Yeah."
It's tough to
People
lose.
didn't vote in your favor based on your argument. I'm sorry. I mean, what can go wrong with Picky Smalls? But but yeah, that's every single Wednesday at 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific. So please come hang out. I host it. Tomorrow's corruption theme. So Shannon Barney is my co-host tomorrow. Really having Marisol McKee as well as Chance Ellison, and they're going to be debating. But on Tuesdays, I co-host a show called Cinema Bias with Video Drew herself, aka Drew Grant, where we dive into movies that really challenge us, movies that we have never seen. So again, somehow she has not seen Karate Kid,
How's that possible?
I don't know how that. I don't know. I don't know. Like that's like what? It doesn't make sense to me. But again, so we're gonna be diving into that movie. Marisol McKee is actually going to be doing it with us again, doing it with us this time. I saw Raising Arizona for the first time last week. That was a fun time.
Okay.
We saw Akira recently. We saw we had John Rocha on as a guest. He watched Rosemary's Baby for the first time, and so that was really cool to kind of dive into that. So please come hang out. Starts at 10 o'clock Central. Check out Cinema Bias on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. With here on the Outlaw Nation, we got a lot going on yesterday. As I just mentioned, the brand new episode of Game Time that dropped yesterday. We almost had 3,000 views already. We must have hit some kind of chord talking about the NBA playoffs to get so many views so quickly on that show. So thank you all so much. If you haven't watched it, go and enjoy it. Go and enjoy it. Watch it just for a classic Winston Marshall rant against the city of Oklahoma City. He's got some issues with Oklahoma City. He lets them all out of the bag around the 40-minute mark of the show and just goes off on a 20-minute rant. It's hilarious as hell, and you guys enjoy that. We talked about the NBA playoffs and everything's going on there with the return of the games after those protests by the NBA, strike by the NBA players, which was incredible, and a powerful time, a powerful moment for sure in the world of sports. Today, also, Matt Nost and I dropped our brand new The Top 10 show. We dropped it this morning for you all to enjoy. The podcast is out there. If you want to watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. Some of you may not know that, but we do have a Top 10 YouTube channel where you can watch all our shows on camera. Our Topic Thunders, our Golden Tickets, and our main show is right there for you to watch. And we'd like for you to subscribe, but of course you can go watch for free if you'd like, and don't have to subscribe, but it'd be great if you did. And remember to hit like on those videos as well, as we look forward to finding a way to monetize that channel for both of us as well. But yeah, go and see that, go and listen to that, or go and watch that. It's all available on the podcast, wherever you download podcasts. What did we do? What was our it was top 10. Oh no, what is it? Top 10.
You did Christopher Nolan movies.
Yes, Christopher Nolan movies today. Yeah, speaking of Tenet, yes, we're doing Christopher Nolan movies today. That's what it is. We dropped them.
10 movies?
Yeah, he does. He did do 10 movies. We had to throw Following in there because it is a legitimate theatrical debut. So that made it 10. So we were able to talk about all of them and rank them, and some surprising numbers of where certain movies ended up. So we had a good time talking about that. And shout out to our new social media guy, Bobby Carney, who is handling our stuff. He started our Instagram account, which started this morning, and he reinvigorated our Twitter account. So go and subscribe or follow the top 10 on Instagram and on Twitter as well. All right, I'm stumbling over my words because I got too much to talk about. Also, later on today, very happy to announce I interviewed the director and one of the actors who appears in the new documentary about Robin Williams. It's called Robin's Wish. I'm going to drop a review for it later on today or tomorrow, but certainly an incredible documentary sponsored by Robin Williams' widow, exploring the last few months of Robin Williams' life as he dealt with Lewy body dementia and what actually happened. Basically, the point of the documentary is to dispel the rumors that it was depression that led Robin Williams to his suicide. It was actually a way more complex situation. And for people who are discovering what Lewy body dementia is, it's growing in terms of the numbers of people who are infected by it. So this could be a very positive documentary for you to watch to get you informed about something that may be happening with a family member or a friend or possibly yourself down the road. But it's also a great trip down memory lane, remembering the comedy, brilliance, and incredible ability of Robin Williams as an actor and a comedian and a humanitarian. So please see Robin's Wish, but watch the interview coming up later on today from the Outlaw Nation. And of course, Schmodown Backstage at 12:30 today, Ben and I. One of my final shows. I guess I should announce that here. I've talked to Christian and Ben about that, but I probably will be stepping away from Schmodown Backstage as Ben Bateman's co-host. I think Ben's an incredible job with the show. I think for me, time-wise, I've got to step away from the show, and I'm going to tell Christian and Ben officially that sometime later today, but I will be stepping away from this show. I think it's just time for them to have a new co-host in there with Ben. All the arguments about it being a bias show for Finstock Exchange, I kind of want to dispel that. So me stepping away from is a way of doing that and getting some new blood in there to co-host with Ben. I'll obviously come back and host whenever Ben can't do it or Christian can't do it. I'm happy to do that, but I think it's the smart thing for me to step away and clear up a little bit more time in my schedule to create more content for my channel, which I think is important at this point in my career and at this point in the building of the channel itself. So there you go. All right. All right, let's move on to our next topic real quick. Let's jump a couple of topics here, Alex, and have you introduce this trailer that we got from Ruby Rose. Talk to me about this new movie coming from Ruby Rose here.
Guys, oh my gosh, Ruby Rose is back. Just you wait and see. Okay, this new movie is called The Doorman. Okay, it's coming out on video on demand. Okay, so hear me out. Jean Reno, tomato, my dude. The point is Ruby Rose is back, and Ruby Rose is back. And I don't really. I read through a lot of the plot. Okay, so let me just tell you the plot. A woman returns from combat as a Marine and befriends a family in New York City. A gang of thieves plot to take over the family's valuables that she is a doorman at the place where she's a doorman at, and she is the one that stands between them and their lives. And so the tagline is "Be careful who you trust." So just saying, she looks intense. So what is she good at? It's not acting, obviously, but it's not acting, obviously. There's a reason why she left Batwoman. But what is she great at? She's really good at choreography. She's really good at violence on screen. Do you not remember John Wick 2? Or was it 3? I don't remember. What is time? I have no clue. But I watched this trailer knowing nothing going into this. I'm like, this sounds like trash. Ruby Rose, whatever, cool. I like her, but whatever. Yeah. Then I saw this trailer and I was like, I need this movie now. This trailer had me on the edge of my seat. I literally was like dozing off. It was like 9 a.m. and I was like, I don't want to read this because I'm like reading stories at 9. I'm like, ugh. But then I was reading about reading about this plot of the story, and I'm like, oh, this sounds like trash. And then I saw the trailer, and I was literally got out of bed, and I was like, oh damn. This looks like a legit trailer. And this looks like a good, fun time. I'm so here for it. There's no one really recognizable in it aside from Jean Reno. I remember him most from You Called This Coffee from Godzilla, but also Leon the Professional.
Yeah.
But the director is, I can't even pronounce it, is Ryuhei Kitamura.
Sure.
But he's done a lot of stuff. He actually, speaking of Godzilla, he did a few Godzilla movies. He did a lot of movies in Asia. He did Versus, Azumi, The Midnight Meat Train. So a lot of these random weird movies. So going into this one, I want weird, I want random, I want violence, and I'm so here for this, like all these punch kicks and explosions. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Alex rant. I apologize, but I'm just so excited. I'm so excited.
I love it. No, it's great, and this is coming out. Let people know if you haven't watched the trailer yet. It's coming out on digital HD and video on demand on October 9th, and on disc, a physical disc, on October 13th. Look, I'm one of the first people that will be like, yes, I agree with you. She's not the strongest actress, and certainly in the trailer, you'll see more of Jean Reno than you do of her. Jean Reno, an established actor who's got a lot of respect in the business, but this does feel like Die Hard in a hotel room, or in an apartment complex. Basically, this is Die Hard in an apartment complex. They don't anticipate this person being in there. She's obviously a decorated war veteran. Even Jean Reno says it a little on the nose in the trailer. So she's basically kicking ass, and she has that moment where she comes through the skylight there with a knee first that would absolutely shatter anyone else's legs, but she survives. And so there's going to be some kick-ass moments for sure, but she's a former veteran going into this. And look, I think it's this could be an absolute piece of crap, or it could be a fun little action movie that you can enjoy on demand. So we'll see. They already emailed me about possibly reviewing it, so maybe I'll get a link to this thing and watch it and grit my teeth through it and see if I like it or not. I love a good action movie. I don't care about the Die Hard premise. I mean, that's been done 5,000 times since Die Hard and 5,000 times before Die Hard. So I mean, Key Largo is a low key kind of situation as well, where they're all stuck on that island and they have to figure out a way out under Edward G. Robinson's thumb. So you've seen movies like this, Towering Inferno, stuck in that building. Who's going to get out? So we've seen this before. So the premise is not an issue. It's the execution of the premise. And this looks like a lot of fun. So we'll see. We'll see if it's any good or absolute and utter crap. We'll see. But shout out to Ruby Rose, who understands where her bread is buttered. Where was Gina Carano for these films? I need to see more of Gina Carano in these movies. That's what I need to see. Now that everyone's back on board with Gina as an actress, I'd like to see Gina do more and more of these action movies myself.
Okay, let's calm that down. We're not okay with her as an actress.
Wow. What?
We're not okay. She's fine. She's fine in Mandalorian, but she's fine in Mandalorian. Wow. She serves the purpose, But if you took all that away, it would be like, oh.
Well, we got to see what she can do. I want to see what she can do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would love to see her in more stuff. I would love to see her in a different version and, be in the world of John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like she would just fit in so smooth into that world perfectly.
I don't disagree. Hyman John sent us another one here. It says, pick favorite Running Man versus Cinderella Man versus Family Man versus Wicker Man versus Weatherman versus Inside Man versus Demolition Man. That's a lot of men.
Rocha, honest to God, you could totally make this into a category on top 10. Top 10 movies with the title, with the word man in the title. The Single Man, Extra Man, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Man in the Iron Mask, Inside Man, The Dead Man, The Perfect Man, Spider-Man 2, Harvard Man, Bicentennial Man. It's just like, do I need to say more? But the real answer to that is Wicker Man. Wicker Man is a great movie.
The original or the Nicolas Cage one?
The original. Christopher Lee is a delight as a cult leader. I'm so here for it. Is it technically a cult? I don't know, but it's a great one. I love that movie.
In terms of quality, I think the best film on this list in terms of quality is The Inside Man, but I will take Cinderella Man over all of these. It's just something about that. But I absolutely support Family Man. I think Family Man is fantastic. I think Weatherman, both those films starring Nicolas Cage, is incredible as well. As these quiet, smaller films that Nicolas Cage can kick ass in. So there you go. That's our answer.
Matchstick Men.
Oh, Matchstick Man. But that's men. That's men. That's a whole nother thing. Because then you get a few good men.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Man versus men. Okay, whatever. Come on.
Here's one. Man on the Moon. That's another
Man
one.
of Steel.
Running Man. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Watchmen, that's a separate one. Men, that's a separate one. Man on Fire. Oh, this is a great.
Yeah, there's a lot. Just saying, my dude. I don't know your name, but you just might have made a top 10 category or like a top 10 thing in the future. This is totally a thing.
I love it. All right, let's do one last story. I know we got to wrap up here. We got 5 minutes to do it because it's on the thumbnail. I got to do the story, and that is Amy Adams. She is on. She has signed on to be in Dear Evan Hansen. The stage musical is being adapted into a feature film. Based on the musical itself. She will be playing. This is a Universal's big screen adaptation of the Broadway hit. There, she's signed on to join the ensemble that includes Ben Platt, Caitlin Deaver, and Amanda Stenberg. The story follows Hansen, a high schooler with social anxiety. He unintentionally gets caught up in a lie after the family of a classmate who committed suicide mistakes one of Hansen's letters for their son's suicide note. Adams will play Cynthia Murphy, the mother to the classmate that commits suicide. Very interesting story too, set to music there because Evan Hansen essentially was bullied by the kid who commits suicide. And now everyone thinks because of that letter that he was really good friends with this bully as opposed to not, but he becomes like the celebrity for this situation. And now the question is, when does he tell the truth throughout the musical? And that's what they're singing about and how it all changes him, this idea of confronting bullying and what it's all about. Amy Adams playing the mom of the kid who commits suicide, who was the bully. So that's going to be interesting. And that's why you cast someone like Amy Adams, because she can play these emotionally complex roles really, really well. And she's over the last few years, Alex, I don't know how you feel about her, but she's really come into her power as a woman, as an actress, as just a talented individual on the planet. So to me, this excites me even more to go see this musical, this big screen adaptation of this Broadway musical. What do you think?
Let me just clarify. She was always a powerful badass actress, all the way from Drop Dead Gorgeous to today. Okay. But that's not new. I do think Amy Adams is definitely one of the most underappreciated actresses working in Hollywood today. It's almost like a running joke that she hasn't won an Oscar in spite of her amazing roles in movies like American Hustle, Arrival, obviously, just to name a few. But one of the big movies that really brought her on the forefront was actually a musical movie called not Giselle, where she played a princess named Giselle, an animated princess come to life. It was a Disney movie called Enchanted. Yeah. Now, this was the movie that really where she played a singing princess come to life, and it was awesome. Yeah. Where everyone's kind of like stood up, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this girl, she's pretty cool." And a lot of people, women love her, men love her. She's just such a really great all around talented actress. But her flexing her musical chops again really gets me super excited.
Yeah, and real quick, so Cinema Girl, you said she's too young to play a mom. She's 46 years old, pal. That's more than enough.
Also, what the F? What?
Yeah, more than enough to play a mom. She's quite fine to play a mom. So she's set to go. And they're doing a sequel to Enchanted. It is in pre-production right now. It's called Disenchanted, and it's set 10 years after Enchanted. And she's not happy with how things are going in her life. So that's an even more, that could be a really fun film if they do it right, about exploring what happens after you get your happily ever after, what the reality of it is. So that I'm excited for that.
Am I excited for that movie? I cannot put into words how excited I am for that movie.
And apparently Patrick Dempsey and James Marsden, according to IMDb, are coming back to reprise their roles. So that could be fun. PC donated a little bit. Thank you, PC. Really appreciate you sliding in there. No comment, just donate. It's very kind of you. Very kind of all of you for joining us. Let's wrap it up now because SEN Live is at 10 a.m. Go and join Christian Harloff and the crew over there at 10 a.m. PT on the Schmodown Entertainment Network. Don't forget, they dropped a new match. I think Liz Shannon Miller, was it, against Rachel Silvestrini? Yes. That dropped yesterday. So go and watch that match and watch two very knowledgeable ladies go at it over movie trivia. And one really trying to state her case that she wants to be taken seriously as a competitor in Silvestrini, and Liz Shannon Miller, a woman who had a shot at number one contender, shot against Paul Oyama, didn't get the job done, but she's back, and let's see what she can do now in the tournament. So go and watch that match and enjoy it. Don't forget the Kevin Smith versus Chris Jericho match. If you haven't watched that yet, that's out there for you to watch for free on the YouTube. On the Schmodown Entertainment Network YouTube page as well. So go and watch that. All right, Alex, where can they find you and everything you got going on?
Right here at real_Alex Mack. You can find me on Twitter, but also you can find me at the Call to Action Podcast on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. So it'd be really cool if you came over and subscribed and all that good stuff.
All right, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Kind of a rough week over the last few days trying to get a guest for the Outlaw Nation show tonight. So the possibility is tonight might just be a Q&A with the fans. It's been a while since we've done one of those shows on the Outlaw Nation show. So maybe it'll just be me sitting back, popping open some wine, lighting a cigar, opening the windows, and hanging out with you all tonight for a couple of hours. I will let you know as I decide what I'll do this morning. I'll make a decision this morning about what I'm going to do with the show tonight. So but I do have a great guest lined up for next week. Jason Inman is coming on the show next week to be my guest. And then after that, Laura Kelly is booked as my guest for the following week after that. So I'm looking forward to having Jason on the show. Going to talk about some Jupiter Jet stuff. We haven't caught up in quite some time, so it'll be nice to see Jason again. One of the guys I absolutely, truly love in this sphere, and it'll be great to talk to him as well. So, all right, that's it for here on the Outlaw Nation. On the mornings with the Outlaw. You guys are awesome. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. And I couldn't have Alex on because Alex has cinema bias. So at some point, though, we'll figure
10 o'clock on Tuesdays, yeah.
At 10 o'clock on Tuesday. So at some point, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out, have Alex on as a full-on guest, not talking about stories from the world of entertainment, but actually getting to know Alex a little bit more. That'll be absolutely a lot of fun as we line this up. And Winston Marshall is lined up for 3 weeks from now as well. So all great stuff coming up. So tonight, maybe just taking a little bit of a break and hanging out with you all might be a lot of fun. We'll see. All right, take care, everybody. Have yourself a great rest of your Tuesday. And don't forget to join us back here again at 8:30 a.m. PT on Thursday morning. All right, go to SEN, 10 a.m. Have some fun with those the people over there, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care until then.
And we're